Greetings and salutations from Reef Rod Aquatics. I'm putting together this video. I know I do reef tanks and stuff like that, but I'm putting together a video here to help some of my friends out with their setup and their tortoise care. Both of my friends also have sulcatas. This is Bailey. We don't know just yet. She's too young to sex yet. So the assumption is until we figure out what chromosome she chose, it's a she. That's the reason why we went with Bailey. It's a neutral name, and if it's a boy, Bailey still fits. So let's go ahead and talk about their enclosure. But actually, first, let's go ahead and talk about their background. Sulcatas are from a region in Africa right below the Sahara Desert and above the Congo. Hatchlings are born right before the monsoon season, which is primarily around March until late September. They're hatched during this period because of the monsoon and the wet. So even though this is a grassland tortoise that seems to come from almost an arid surrounding, it's really not. They actually come from, during that first year, they have tons of greens, tons of water, high humidity. The other thing too is people don't know is even in the hot season, the adults will burrow into the ground where it's cooler and it's moisture. So they need to be soaked every day if they're not self-soaking when they get older. You need to do that yourself. When I purchased her, she had a snotty eye. She had gritty urates, and the substrate was not correct. They had her in bark, and they were feeding her improperly. A lot of lettuces, a lot of watermelons, stuff like that. So she was not being fed properly. It's taken me almost a month or two to get her urates cleared up. The eye got cleared up probably about 2 or 3 weeks after continuous soaking and improved proper diet. Right now you can tell she's chowing down on we've got some mulberry delight from Hikari, and I've mixed in some of this stuff right here, just a little bit of this. I did purchase some of this, but she doesn't really have, this is kind of sweet, and should not be fed on a regular basis, but this is kind of sweet, and she just doesn't have a sweet tooth. What she should be primarily eating on is Timothy grass, okay? I bought this on Amazon. It's 3 pounds. It'll last a while. It's 100% Timothy hay pellets. And I also have this in orchid grass just to try to give a variety. I more or less take all the food, rehydrate it in here, soften it up so that she can eat it. The recommendation for feeding is round disc, okay? And then for water, this is just a terracotta drip pan for plants. Over here is her basking area. This is the reason why the light looks so different, is because these are mercury vapor bulbs up here. I believe one's 100 watt and the other one's 150 watt, and it gets what I need it to be right here. So 99 degrees on the stone, which is decent and important, and we'll get into that later. If you notice, this is an Exoterra tank with the sliding doors, but I took cork bark and I've covered all 3 sides, okay? Turtles don't understand glass, so if you are forced to use an aquarium, make sure it's all covered. and sealed as much as possible. Even though this is vented, you can see the polyurethane or the polycarbonate that I have up here trying to help hold some humidity in. So let's continue on with lighting. Important, these mercury vapor bulbs, very, very important because they have the proper UVA and UVB that they need to metabolize vitamin D. There's also a UVB 10, I think it is. This is a desert version of fluorescent lighting, also to help out with that vitamin D. And right here I have an additional heater. So this heater right here is set to keep this area at a particular temperature, and we'll get into that in a second. And then this right here is a fan that actually removes air. This is the suction side, that is the outlet side, and the air is drawn into the terrarium through this grate, so there's always fresh air coming into this area. This room is kept at 75, 78 degrees year round due to my fish tanks, so we're always able to replenish that. This is her hide. This is important. Just as this is important, this is just also very, very important. This hide has sargassum moss in there. You can't really see in there, but this is sprayed down and soaked daily so that this stuff here is nice, moist, and cool. And what we'll do is we'll take another, you can tell this is about 74 degrees. It should be about 75 when the doors are closed, but you can tell that's very important that they have the area to get hot, they have the area to get cool. So this is sort of like the moderate zone. This over here is the hot zone, and this, her hide over here, is the cool zone. Okay, now I'm sort of cheating because I have one of these controllers here. Basically, that heater right now is set to 90 degrees, which is the reason why it's showing 0 right now. The internal temperature is 86, and that's my humidity. Now, if these doors were both closed, this heat right here, this thermometer, is right there. So that's actually telling us what the temperature is closer to the light, okay? This temperature right here is actually right there, okay? And then the humidity sensor is right there as well. So, moderately, it's 86 degrees in this tank right now. Again, if the doors were closed, chances are the fan would be kicked in, trying to maintain the temperature right now. Substrates. Let's talk about substrates. The substrate that we see here is a mixture of Repti soil and coconut fiber. Okay, it's mixed to the consistency that it compacts very well. I was growing grass in here, so it does grow grass very, very well. I'm disturbing Bailey from eating. It's easy to replace. If you got a section that you need to tear up, that's fine. But it's about a 50-50 mix. It doesn't really stick to her feet and her paws. It's pretty good, and if she ends up ingesting any of it for any reason, she's completely safe. Please do not use wood chips, bark, sand. They're not, I'm talking about you. They're not desert tortoises, okay? They're grassland tortoises. The other thing I have in here too is a little ping pong ball. That's courtesy of one of my other clients. And she does chase that around a little bit. What we have here is cuttlebone. In the wild, they will eat the bones, dried up bones of zebras and antelopes and stuff like that to get their calcium. So that's why that's in there as well. I do supplement with calcium, but probably about every 2 weeks. I'll go ahead and put a little bit of Dusty in a Repti cow and watch and pay attention to her urates. Urates should never be gritty or sandy white. If you do get a little bit of milky white substance in there, that's perfectly fine. That's just them rejecting the proteins. But their stool should always be very hard and loose. The best way I can describe it is it smells like bad breath. Really, really bad. But that's about it for the enclosure. Oh, spray nozzles. I'm also cheating here. I believe I got the Monsoon Multi 2, and I'm running 160-second spray every 8 hours, and it's not causing the substrate to get soggy. And meanwhile, again, trying to keep her, got one nozzle over here pointed towards her hide, and the rest of it trying to keep her as humid as possible. She does have a little bit of pyramiding going on, nothing drastic, and as you can tell, she's a very healthy, happy tortoise. The other thing too, as far as health goes with your tortoise, is they should have some weight to them. She's a chunky little girl. She's a good eater. She's not really big on her hay. She definitely loves this Hikari food. And from what I can tell, the Hikari food is expensive, but it is worth it. I use their formula for aquatic turtles, and it is the only time I've really seen aquatic turtles not in captivity, not pyramiding, and they were fed solely that food. So there's obviously a lot of good things going on with that Hikari food for sure. Now she's about a year old. She's not ready for an outdoor enclosure just yet. I have had her outside, and with this Tennessee heat, I have run her a little on a ragged side once or twice. So until she starts to get a little bit bigger, or I could come up with something more permanent, I think next year we're going to go with a temporary outdoor enclosure, one that will protect her from the elements and protect her from the, oh my God, is she going to do it? Okay, that right there is the poopy face. There's poopy coming. That is the cutest thing, the poopy face. I cannot believe I'm catching this on camera. This is totally awesome. Okay, this is the face that your tortoise will make when it is trying to do a number 2. So whenever food goes in, so yep, here we go. Hind legs raised. I'm gonna keep filming through this because this is, there she goes. Yep, hind legs raised up. She's probably gonna make the poopy face again. No, maybe not. Okay, nope, she's going right back to eating. But getting back to what I was saying, probably next year I'll make her a temporary outdoor enclosure that'll protect her from the hot Tennessee summers and the birds and the other animals in the area. I'll probably end up giving up this terrarium for one of the boxes, and maybe year 4 or 5 we'll build her a permanent enclosure. That'll be her permanent home. We'll have a little shed to winter her up in every year, and that's the best way to take care of your sulcata. If anybody has any questions or anything else like that, I belong to several Facebook groups. A good plethora of information. You still have to distill down the bad info. Always do your studies, always follow up. And that's about it. But reach out if you guys have any questions. Keep on reefing and have a good day.